Hey guys, Joshua Gadamu here, and I'm doing a tutorial video on how to make a great stop-motion animation video. And these are things, when I first got into stop-motion animation, I watched a lot of other people's work, and I took notes. I took notes on what I liked and what I didn't like, and what really made them stand out. And I highly recommend you do that yourself. But here's some of the things that I've learned that I use in the making of my series, Gundam Father of Peace. And I have my friend, Isaiah, who's the cameraman, and he can show himself on camera, or not.
Hello.
I am teaching him this stuff today, so I asked him to be the cameraman while I teach you guys too. So I call these, the first three things I call the three S's. The three S's: scale, story, and sound. If you look at this movie set, you can get close, there is scale. You know, the scale isn't always perfect sometimes, but I try as hard as I can to have scale. And the truth is, there's a big difference between this guy here fighting on a military base built around him and this guy here on my table. Now, I could do a stop-motion animation equally as awesome. I could have all kinds of cool combat and just cool special effects with Adobe After Effects and whatnot, but the truth is, it will never feel like a giant robot. Especially with my T-Mug here. It'll never feel like a giant robot in combat. And so people might go, "Oh wow, that stop motion was really good, he's really good," but they'll never get wrapped up into the realism of it, because the coffee mug ruins it, let's face it. So, back here, you have scale. You know, and I have a couple random things on here because we're not filming just yet, but it's seen in the middle of filming. If you don't look at anything that's not supposed to be on here, I mean, everything's built on a giant robot scale. And whether you're doing Lego animation or dolls or whatnot, you want to have scale. Unless, perchance, that your story is actually taking place in the human world and your action figures have come alive, in which case this is just fine. The second S is story. If there's no story, what happens is people watch your stop-motion animation and they go, "Wow, that was really cool. What else is on?" Gundam Father of Peace, the first release, took more than 2 years for Part 2 to come out. That was a lot longer than I ever planned, but I worked 3 jobs and that just didn't have the time. I was always working on it, but it took forever. And it frustrated me more than it frustrated anybody else. But you guys, the fans, stuck through. Why? Because there was a story. You needed to know what happened to Joshua Wolf. And I'm not trying to brag about my own series. I'm just saying that when there's a story, people will remember it. If there is no story, they go on and watch the next YouTube video. So if you really want to have a series, or not even necessarily a series, just an animation that makes people remember you and makes you popular on YouTube, you need some kind of story, even if that story ends at the end of your one film. That story is what makes people remember. The next S is sound. Now, sound is not absolutely necessary, that's why it's number 3. But sound effects do a lot more. You can get sound effects free off the internet. You don't have to steal them, you don't have to do whatever. You can also buy sound packs cheap off eBay or off the internet. So don't count yourselves out. Sound effects are free all over the internet. And when I don't have a certain sound, I go find it. So that's the 3 S's. Next, let's cover sticky tack. Sticky tack is one of the most amazing things ever invented. And this is important because when you're doing stop-motion animation, if there's a minor earthquake because you bumped the table, you don't want everything to fall off. This guy's sticky-tacked, this guy's sticky-tacked, this guy's sticky-tacked. This guy should be sticky-tacked. In fact, I was animating right next to him for a scene for Destroy the Unicorn, and he moved because he wasn't sticky-tacked down. It wasn't that I really bumped him hard or anything, but that he just shook. He got bumped just a little bit and he moved. And so sticky tack can really hold your stuff down. I'm going to be filming a scene where lasers hit this guy. And what I'll do is I'll crop it so that you never see the blue sticky tack. And you can do that. And so sticky tack is incredibly useful. It can also keep your props down. This and this. These are all held down with sticky tack. That way, if you bump the mobile suit hanger, it doesn't go anywhere. So, and because you don't want to glue it down permanently, because otherwise you're in trouble. It's there permanently and you never get to reuse your props. Another thing is lighting. Now, most people will just try and film on their table or something like that, and then they run into this problem that their lighting is really yellow. It gives this yellow effect to your animation or your video. Now, obviously for practice, that's fine, but if you're really trying to make a production, make sure you get reveal light bulbs. And 100 watt is the best you can get. Make sure your lamps can support it. Your room may get a little hot. This whole room is a studio, and there's a light here, here, another one here, here, there, there, another one, and one over here. Now my movie set is large, so I need several lights to light the entire thing. And you can adjust the brightness on your camera as you're filming, but these lights give it a natural look. These are kind of like daylight bulbs. That's another word for them. And so they look like daylight when they're on, versus your standard yellow, soft white 40 watt bulb, which makes everything look very, very yellow. Lighting is important. You might be saying,
tell me how much.
oh, how much they cost?
Yeah. Just
Revealed light bulbs really aren't that expensive. You don't have to put out for them, but they're not like expensive light bulbs. They really don't cost much more than the regular ones. So, if you have questions, Isaiah, just ask. So, okay. Another thing that we need to go over is effects lighting. Now, you might be saying, well, I thought this was a stop motion tutorial. Honestly, there are lots of good stop motion tutorials how to do stop motion animation. We'll get to that. But they never tell this stuff, and so I'm trying to teach the other stuff that you don't learn in the stop motion animation tutorial videos. Stop motion animation itself isn't that hard. Making a great one is. So the next thing I want to go over is effects lighting. Now, I've learned this from others, actually. This wasn't my concept. But you buy a flashlight, and several flashlights is really useful. The more flashlights you get, even the better. But for instance, when the eye field kicks in, the beams are being deflected by this guy, I'm going to use a black light from this flashlight here. And it gives it a totally different effect. It might not look that amazing right now, but when it's in picture form, you can do a lot. So this guy has a machine gun in his hand. Well, that's cool. And we can even edit in special effects with various programs, or even GIMP, which is free. But look now. Now it looks like a machine gun actually firing. And so you do that picture by picture. You alternate, light, no light, light, no light. You can have machine gun fire on your army men, on basically whatever. You could use that for lasers. Obviously, I use Gundam's various beam saber parts as lasers, and I got that idea from others as well, like my friend Raven. But that's kind of what it'll look like. I light these up. I also usually highlight them in GIMP, but that's kind of an After Effects thing. Right now we're trying to talk about practical lighting effects. And this was just like a $10 flashlight off eBay. In fact, it might have been $5 and I got it with free shipping. It also has a laser, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to shine it into the camera because I'm not sure if that'll hurt the camera, but there's a laser. And that can make for some cool effects. It's a little hard to hold straight, so it sometimes takes a couple tries. And there's various kinds of flashlights as well. There's the headlamps. Just try stuff out. This is a red flashlight. Now my set's so well lit that it's kind of hard to see. But it does have a cool effect. And I have used it in animation. But flashlights. Those are great for having special effects, lighting effects. Gives it that gun or explosion feel. And that's most of what I have. Isaiah, do you have any questions? None? Okay, well that's going to conclude our tutorial video on how to make a great stop motion animation. Obviously, in case anyone needed me to cover this, the way you do stop motion animation is you have a digital camera. Oh, tripod. What? Tripods are really important. If you can have a real tripod and not just one of these, you'll do a lot better. I guess I was ending just a little too soon. I didn't write down a few things. But these, they move. So you press the button, your camera shakes. And so what you end up with is a shaky animation. Even if you hold it as still as possible and take your picture, the camera's still going to move a little bit. And so your animation will look like this. And, you know, it's kind of cool when you're having like a large robot walk in and you need the camera to shake from an earthquake. But otherwise, not so great. So, a tripod you can get at your local pawn shop or even your Walmart for, you know, 10, 20 bucks. And they just have things that screw in like this. So, yep, that concludes our tutorial video. Stop motion animation is pretty easy, but with these tricks and tips, you should be able to make it even more amazing. Catch you guys later.